All right, now we're live on Facebook. Okay, so welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here with us for the screening of Healing Voices. How was that? Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that powerful? Wasn't that moving? Wasn't that inspiring? Let's talk about it. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your experience, your reaction, your thoughts, your feelings. Let's talk about this. Wow. And let's get behind the scenes. Let's go backstage with that phenomenal cast. How amazing were these women? They were freaking so powerful, so vulnerable, so beautiful, and they're all here for you. So let's talk to them right now. All right. So I'm going to mute everyone so that we get rid of any noise that we have in the background. And let us begin. Let's see. I'm going to read some of the comments. So we have, okay. Thank you for inviting me to this. I'm always amazed at the courage and strength of the women that you work with. That is coming from Mark Dana, our gentleman that is here supporting us today. Thank you. And Dr. Shelley Hipsky, powerful, authentic, real, like double real, right? Because we're so like, seriously, like what, like imagine what it took to open up our hearts and share them with the world. But that's the only way to heal, is to share your voice, is to get rid of that shame, to go past that fear. So yes, wow. So who else do we have here? Oh, okay, Yvette, powerful. All the best to you, to your continued mission and vision. Healing is a lifelong journey. Yes, it is. Yes, it really is. And this is coming from a dear friend of mine, Yvette, who is a licensed social worker. So she sees this all the time, every day. Yes, thank you. Yvette, are you still here, my love? Okay. So I want to invite some people to ask some questions. Who's brave enough? Who's brave enough? Let's see. Yes. Okay, Sophie. Okay, Sophie, we're gonna put you on the spotlight. Where are you, darling? She's always behind the scene, but let's put her on the spotlight. Okay. Yes, my darling. Sophie. Speaker view. Okay, hi. So I have to unmute you. Let's see. Sophie. How can I unmute her?
Right click.
Right
click on her.
Yeah, I'm looking for her name in the list.
No, not on the list.
Yeah, but she's already okay, here we go. There you go. Yes, you are unmuted, darling. Hello, Sophie Markopoulos. Tell us who you are. Tell us your connection to Milagros Day Worldwide, and tell us your question.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So for those of you who haven't met me or whose faces I have not yet had the pleasure of making up, I am a makeup artist and I have volunteered a few times. Sorry, my amazing partner is doing the dishes right now. God bless her. I'm just going to put my headphones in. But yeah, so I've volunteered with Milagros Day Worldwide a few times, and you know, what really speaks to me the most, I would say, is that trauma is intergenerational. And, you know, I feel like with every generation in my family, it's gotten easier to talk about trauma, but there's still a lot of issues, you know. So my question was for Star and anyone else who has struggled with suicidality. Was there an aha moment? And, you know, when you're struggling with those feelings, you know, maybe you have a feeling of what's the point, or feelings of worthlessness. And what are some of the positive feelings that kind of replace that idea?
Thank you for that question, Sophie. And I'm just going to take a moment to see if I can do a split screen between you and Star. Okay, just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't think we can do, I don't know how to do that right now. So I'm going to just unmute Star and then make it a speaker view. And that way, whenever she speaks, it should, okay, so Star, go ahead, darling, answer the question.
Okay, with my experience, I felt like I had a gray cloud hovering over my shoulder, and I was just tired of being tired. And I just wanted to go to heaven and be with God. And when I attempted to do that, I changed my mind and decided to call the suicide hotline. And when I called the suicide hotline, the line was busy. So that was my aha moment, because I felt that God was telling me, it's not your time. Then I said, but why? Why? I'm tired. You have strength. That's your purpose. You need to give others strength. You can't go yet. Not now. You have a purpose. That was my aha moment, when the phone was busy. And I laugh about it till this day. I found that God was joking with me. And humor saved me. That busy signal saved me.
Wow. Wow, that is really, really powerful, Star, because what you are saying, you know, what I'm hearing from what you're saying is that it didn't take anybody outside of you. Like at that moment, there was nothing or no one that could save you. And there really never is. There really never is. And that was your aha moment, when you realized there's nothing or no one that I can call, that I can reach out to, that I can grab onto. It's just me, baby. It's just me. I have it. I have the love. I have the power. I have the strength. I have the resilience. And that moment when that phone was busy, it's clicked for you and you realized that. So wow, thank you. That's such an amazing insight. Thank you, darling. Wow.
Thank you, Sophie, for that question.
Yeah, thank you. It is really ironic because you called this, just like Dawn just said, you called the suicide hotline looking for the answer from somebody else. And then in the end, what saved you was the lack of having to talk to anybody else to realize what your purpose was. And I think that's something that it took me a really long time to understand, that the answer is so simple, and you can find it by looking within and not always by searching or running away. So
I have one more thing to say. I want to say that a lot of people are depressed, and a lot of people have mental illness because of trauma and consider suicide. And I feel that another reason what my purpose is to talk about it and not be ashamed of it, because it's a stigma and it's not a weakness. You have to overcome it to be strong. And that's what this is all about. I want to share my story with whoever needs this kind of help, because I found the strength within myself, and Dawn leads us to take our strength and share with others.
that's amazing.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you know, the crazy thing is that this, like me creating these forums, creating this you know, platform for all of you to tell your story and for all of you to be able to heal, is what keeps me alive. It's my oxygen. It's what keeps me healing. It's what keeps me from sinking into the depths of despair, into the depths of depression, into the depths of anxiety. That's the only thing that keeps me going. Do you get it? Like, of course I'm doing it because yes, I'm a great person. Yes, I'm a great leader. Yes, I'm a great mentor, but I need this. I need this just as much as you do. So thank you. Thank you all for trusting me to take you on this journey. Yes. Awesome. All right, let's see. Some more questions. Okay, let's see. Who can we invite to the floor? Mark Dana, I would love to hear you say something because this is a gentleman who has been here to support Milagros Day Worldwide throughout the years, throughout our evolution. And, you know, we do have many gentlemen in our community that have been there to support us. And that's how we created the Men of the Movement Award. And so, you know, we're so happy to have this gentleman here with us today. If you could say a few words, if you have a specific question, that'd be awesome for one of the ladies. And if not, just, you know, tell us what you thought about everything.
I was so moved. And like I said in the comment, every time I'm around you and your ladies, the courage to come forward and be so honest and raw, it always amazes me. And I just, as long as is it okay if I tell what happened yesterday that I texted you about?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay, so I consider Dawn one of my dearest friends. I know her for a long time. We've been to many seminars and processes together. Yesterday, I was standing in line at the local Walgreens, and a woman came in, and she was on crutches. She had a soft cast on her foot, and her arm was all bandaged up, and she had like glasses that you could see that she had black eyes. And I asked, what happened? And she said, domestic violence. And immediately I said, okay, you have to talk to my friend Dawn. Now, I don't know if she's called you, and I didn't even get her name, but I wrote down Dawn's phone number and I said, here, call her. And then I texted, you know, Dawn, this is what happened and somebody's going to reach out to you. And quite frankly, Dawn and I haven't spoken for like a month. She had called to see how I was. And here I am. And I wouldn't even have known about this. So there's no accidents in the universe. And Dawn, thank you for what you do. You know, I'm always amazed by you. And I want to say, you look especially lovely today.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's see. All right. Thank you, Mark. And, you know, we do have a lot of great gentlemen who support Milagros Day Worldwide throughout the years, have been to our boot camp, have been part of our, you know, forgiveness ceremony, have, you know, supported us. I mean, Margarita has a community with the MTA PD Guardians, and it's all men. It's, you know, she's probably like one of the few women in that organization, and they are huge supporters of Milagros Day Worldwide, you know? So we, you know, the great thing about this healing is that we get to see, one of the great things is that we actually get to see that there's some wonderful men, right? And that any man that hurt us in the past is because they were hurt. Is because they didn't have the love and the you know, the upbringing that they needed to have. Not that it's justified, but just for us to see that we don't need to shut down and reject love, that we just have to open our hearts and attract the right kind of people that are going to love us and cherish us and treasure us and protect us, like gentlemen like Mark and like the MTA PD Guardians. So thank you for that. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So, okay, let's invite Dr. Shelley Hipsky to say a few words. Tell us how this, what did you think about this screening, darling? Hello.
Bravo to all of the incredible women of Healing Voices and Milagros Day Worldwide. I am so blown away by you. Some of you know that I am the CEO of Inspiring Lives International, and I run Inspiring Lives magazine, and I'm the president of the Global Sisterhood. And Milagros Day Worldwide has for years been a huge part of our charity partnerships. Giving back to the women of Milagros Day Worldwide has just been on my heart since the very beginning when I first met Dawn. And she was on my television show, Inspiring Lives with Dr. Shelley. So it's been amazing watching Dawn grow, the Milagros Day Worldwide grow, the outreach, and just the beautiful, raw, authentic, real vibe that you brought to the stage of MMN. Just incredible, just incredible.
Yeah.
So proud of each and every one of you. I'd like to talk to one of the, if there's any of the women out there that found it particularly hard to tell their story. And Dawn, you would know who that would be. What did that mean to you to be able to tell your inspiring story? Because I've always had as my tagline, inspiration's just a story away. And I truly believe that. But I want to talk to one of the women in the cast that had a real healing moment from Healing Voices.
Okay, thank you. Let's see who is here. I mean, I can tell you, for example, Dina, throughout our 12 weeks, she was mortified to just go in front of the class and just talk to our group, just our intimate group. And so when she came out and delivered her presentation, which was about Prince Charming,
Yes.
and she was just so strong and so powerful and so eloquent. And so Dina, tell us what changed for you between the being terrified and just taking and owning that stage, my love. Yes, let me spotlight you. Yes.
I think it was easier to get on the stage than it was to be in the class. Because I think I fought the class because of my insecurities of not thinking that I can do it. So I fought it the whole way. Even though I did the class and I participated 100%, a lot of the time I fought it. I was like, oh. And my batteries. I don't know why my battery's dying. But once I got up there and I knew what I was going to say, and I knew that it had like really deep meaning for me, it was a lot easier. It was a lot easier. And I just, I think about it a lot. I think about the class and everything that we had to do to get to the next, week, and whenever I'm feeling down, I always like pick up one of those things. Like, remember, you got to do this, and remember, you got to do that. And remember, don't forget this. And, all the tools that you need to like pick yourself up. And, yeah, but it was easier to get up on the stage than it was for the class.
Okay, excellent. Well, you did a fantastic job. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And how did it feel watching yourself, Dina?
That was a little bit more difficult. Yeah, that was a little bit more difficult. So I guess, it was the first time I saw myself on film, so it was a little awkward. But I guess, the more you do it, the more comfortable you are, and the more you know how to stand or be. And because I think that's the thing. Like, I never know how to, like, hold myself.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dina. You did an amazing job. That film, that video of you speaking, and that poem is so deep and so powerful, and it's touching a lot of women's lives, and it's opening a lot of eyes. So thank you for that. I want to acknowledge Dina. She's in her car right now because she's on a break from work. She's a respiratory therapist who works in a nursing home. And, you know, she was personally affected with this crisis, and she's just resilient. And here she is back, you know, serving people, serving the public, and still taking a moment and taking a break to share her story and her energy with us. So thank you. I love you. And yeah, girl, let's just keep going. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Dr. Shelley, really quick, I want to bring you back and just thank you for supporting us throughout our journey, and for seeing how Milagros Day Worldwide stepped up into this crisis. Because, you know, at the beginning of this COVID-19, of the lockdown, of the quarantine, of the uncertainty, of the, you know, tragedy of everything that was going on, we had to, at first it was like fear, despair, you know, sadness, loss, all of that. And the tools that we've learned in Milagros Day Worldwide, in Healing Voices, is what brought us out, pulled us out of that abyss, pulled us out of that despair. And we started to have support groups, and we started to have the summit. It's just like ideas just started flowing, and community just started coming together and mobilizing. And I really appreciate and honor and thank you so much for acknowledging that and for seeing that. Like, you know, one of the main things that help people to heal is to be seen.
Yes.
Is to be seen, and to have you see what we're doing, and to get into action, and to take and to create this scholarship of this grant that you've given us coming now in June is phenomenal, and I appreciate it so much. And it's perfect timing because we're going to be able to use that to upgrade our technology, because now our program is all technology.
Absolutely.
And so we need to upgrade our technology. And so this is going to help us so much. So thank you, Dr. Shelley.
You're welcome. I also want to say thank you to Reverend Nettie
Yes.
Joe. She was the philanthropist that stepped up and said, where does the money need to go right now? And we have over 20 charity partnerships with the Global Sisterhood. And immediately, since I keynoted the summit with Milagros Day Worldwide, and I knew that, I mean, there's women that are in their New York apartments, their tiny New York apartments with their captors right now, and they have no way of getting out. There's women that are having traumatic stress disorder that need to have the therapeutic interventions that you are able to provide through Milagros Day Worldwide. And I said that to Reverend Nettie Joe, and she was all about it. You're our first charity that we are going to be supporting with the foundation funds coming up in June here. So I'm very, very, very excited to be able to do that and to announce that here today.
Thank you. And all of you watching, we still need more help. We still need more support.
Always.
We're going to put in our links. We have a GoFundMe that supports this domestic violence increase during COVID-19, and be able to deliver programs like the Healing Voices that you just watched. So, okay, let's go on to somebody else. Thank you again, Dr. Shelley.
Thank
All
you.
right, some of our guests here. Who else do we have as a guest? Dory, would you like to ask a question? Laura Astribolus, would you like to ask a question? Who else do we have? Jonah, would you like to ask a question? All right. Mimi, would you like to ask a question? Let's see. Say hello to your sisters, Mimi. Let's see. I'm trying to unmute you, but I think you're muted on your end.
I am.
Yes. Hi. Yes. Okay. We hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Hi guys. How are you? I wanted to ask a question to Margarita. Her story like hit me like, whew. it really touched me because my mother went through that, sexually being abused by her dad. And that was a big secret. And that's why I wonder, like, what's her relationship now? Did her dad ever get arrested for it? She still has a relationship with her dad?
Thank you. Thank you, Mimi. So Mimi's part of our community of Milagros Day Worldwide. She's been in our Transformation Academy. She's been in our boot camp. And we are now recruiting for the next group of Healing Voices. And so Mimi, we want you to be part of it. So we are inviting all of our sisters to be part of this and so to tell their own stories as well. So thank you for that question. And Margarita, I'm going to put you on the spotlight, my love. Yes, yes, yes. And I have to unmute you. Hold on. Margarita. All right. Unmute. There you are. Yes. Hi.
For the to your question, Mimi, no. This happened years ago, of course, when I was much younger. He never got in trouble, he never got arrested, and I've never saw him again after that.
Oh. I know, because I know my mother hated her dad. And when we were younger, I never met my grandfather. And I always wanted to meet him. I didn't know why she wanted, she kept us away from that secret. And then finally, when I was like 14, she told me the secret. And without me even knowing him, I just hated him. And I remember him when he passed away, my mother didn't shed one tear for him. So I was just wondering whatever happened.
No, yeah, he never spoke about it to nobody in the family. And actually, I just reconnected with my brother about 3 years ago because he just found out about the story after all these years.
Wow.
Yeah,
So Margarita, you talked about in your presentation, you gave us all of the statistics, which was really important to see. And you gave us what the symptoms are for someone who's a child or a young girl who's going through sexual abuse. And you also talked about forgiveness, right? And I know that we have to be very clear to clarify that forgiveness does not mean justifying the behavior, and forgiveness does not mean allowing that person back into your life. Forgiveness does not mean, allowing them to continue to hurt you. But what does it mean, Margarita?
My story was especially hard because a lot of the times when you hear about sexual abuse, a lot of the times you'll hear that it was either like a boyfriend, a mom's boyfriend, or a family member. Very rarely do you hear that it's from your own biological father. For many years, that to me was very shameful for me to even tell anybody. Not, a lot of my friends, nobody even knew until this time that this is the first time I ever shared my story. And I just felt that it wasn't forgiveness for him. It was forgiveness for me. It was forgiveness for the way I kind of like treated myself for all these years because I was hiding this big secret. And deep down inside, I kind of felt like it was my fault, and that was because of, not having any support, and, was afraid by the way people will be looked at me. And I just felt that I had to share my story in case there was anybody else that went through what I went through and understand that you're not alone, and it does happen, and, it just came out more like after that, you hear a lot of times now that it could even be brothers, it could even be, biological fathers. It doesn't have to be a family friend or somebody that's step or whatever the case may be. And just know that, as long as you love yourself, you can overcome it and put yourself first.
Thank you. Thank you, Margarita. All right. Okay. So I'll just bring a few ladies up. Sonia, talk to us about ACEs and about Survivor I Am and about, your experience with Healing Voices and and where, you know, how you're moving forward and how we can invite other ladies to move forward with us.
Sure. So on this healing journey, which is a lifetime, you question a lot of things. And I just so happen to be, you know, that good old friend Google, where you're searching for answers in life. And I stumbled upon the adverse childhood experience case study that Dr. Vincent Felitti and Dr. Robert Anda from the CDC started. And it's basically 10 questions, 10 pivotal questions that invite you into looking into your own childhood and what happened in your household before you were 18. And they're the hardest questions to answer, but once you answer them, it gives you this awakening where you go, oh my God, other people are answering these. And when they started to get the feedback, they realized that every one of us to the left and right had more than just even one adversity in common. And the more adversities you went through, the more highly impacted you were in the way that it would manifest itself as far as what you wouldn't do in life. So it would stagnate your growth and literally impact your brain development, because we're all children, except that we don't remain children. So I started to do the work for myself, and really it started connecting me to other people, like with Bessel Van. Can you help me out here, Donna?
Yes, Van de Kolk, yes.
Right,
Uh-huh.
and Dr. Gabor Mate. And you know, when you start looking and seeking for answers, those like minds will start to come to you, whether it's the universe, God, or whatever it is that you keep faith in conspiring to bring you awareness. You will find more enlightenment as you search. So as you seek, you will find those things. And then I started Survivor I Am, and I will be honest with you and say that anyone can probably attest to this. When you start the journey of non-profiting, it's because you want to fill a need that you feel hasn't been met. And not only that, even if it's been met, you could have millions of people trying to fill the same thing, but there's still even millions more to reach. So Dawn has her voice, I have my voice, and so do all the other, 14 plus that we're going to continue to reach throughout this journey. And so I started Survivor I Am, and it was the hardest thing, because now you're inviting other people like Dawn to speak about their, childhood. And when you relate and connect, you start to realize, oh my God, this is much deeper than what I really thought. And in that, you have to keep that connection. Now you have to hold yourself accountable to being in touch with those sisters, because if not, you can definitely spiral into rumination and frustration rather than moving forward in the awareness. So I thank Dawn for starting this. And, I have very synergistic, like-minded things that I'd like to do. And I think the partnering is a beautiful thing. We're all survivors of our own childhood. That's my tagline. We're all survivors of our own childhood. And what does that mean? That means that we're here, and as adults, take care of that inner child so that we can empower the next. So, when you start to look at your own deeds, right? And you start to take accountability for your own life and your own stagnant growth, that's when you realize, oh my God, I'm still that little, hey little girl, can we come up to the present moment and be present? Because you're here, you're a survivor. And that means that your story serves purpose and lays the groundwork to pave way and enlightenment for other women. So thank you so much. And you know what? I get so nervous and my heart starts to beat really, really fast. And, you start to have like beads of sweat, when you own your story. And that's okay too. Show your vulnerability. Show that it hurts sometimes to think that you're that 1 in 4 girls or 1 in 6 boys, but again, like I said, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In every walk that you do, even through social distancing, we're all survivors of our own childhood. Now what? Empower the next. Thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being one of the mentors in my life. Thank you so much. And the women that are courageous. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. And I'll tell you that there are, within this community, we have a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, a wealth of resources right here in our community. And it's just so amazing for us to get together and share that knowledge with the world and just know our worth, know our value. And we do that through shedding the shame of those stories with Healing Voices. So, all right. So we're going to just go through Sade, would you like to ask a question to any of the ladies? We have Jennifer D here. Would you like to ask a question? Mariah, would you like to ask a question? We wanna invite people to participate. In the meantime, I'm going to open up to some of the ladies. So Janice, do you want to say a few words and just tell us like how was it watching yourself, and you know, where have you come since that day, right? Because there's the Janice before Healing Voices, there's the Janice after Healing Voices, right? There's the Sonia before Healing Voices, there's the Sonia after. There's the Dawn before Healing Voices and after. Like, this was a pivotal transformation in all of our lives. So tell us some of that, my love. Oh, sorry, I have you muted. Sorry. Let's see. How do I? Wait. I gotta unmute you. Okay. Where are you? There you go. Okay. Yes. Hello.
So it's been a journey to self-love. Before Healing Voices, I was very stuck in depression and anger, and I was going through, I feel like I was going through PSTD when I was going through Healing Voices. And that all changed to PTG, which is actually post-traumatic growth. So it's a mental shift that I experienced during Healing Voices. So I learned to set boundaries in my life to people in my life that are toxic. I've learned that your focus determines on your reality. So when I did the talk on change your thought, you find a better thought, I actually use those tools now to change my mind shift when I do fall into depression, or when I do, feel a certain bad emotion. I've learned to climb the ladder to find a better emotion. I use my workouts, I use dancing, I use different tools to make a better mood, but also to try to help myself and even my kids. I've learned that I am enough because I exist. And it's been a very hard journey. And thank you, Dawn. Like, you saved my life, because when before I met you, I had two different connections through Milagros Worldwide, which was Maria and Charlena, and they put me to meet you and to join Milagros Day Worldwide, and it's actually, it was my lifesaver. It was actually, my prayer answered. So thank you. Where'd you go?
Janice, thank you for that. It's really important. You mentioned a few things. You mentioned boundaries, right? And you mentioned like throughout the weeks that you were going, or you felt like you were going through PTSD, right? And that's the thing of the community and the healing together, is that the subjects and the topics, you know, the material, the films, the videos, the reading, everything that we're gonna go through in this 12 weeks, it's not gonna be in the walk in the park. Like Sherry said, healing is not easy. Healing is hard work, and healing is not pretty. It gets real ugly. It gets real, you know, you be having snots hanging off your nose, you know, you be angry, right? Because, and that's okay. Those are all stages that you have to go through in order to heal. And that's what happens. A lot of people, they stop, right? When they start feeling that pain, they start feeling that, you know, that uncomfortability, they don't want to deal with it and they run away because it hurts too much. But it hurts more to stay in that sadness, in that depression, right? It hurts more to not heal. So all of you who are thinking and considering joining us on this journey, just know it's gonna be challenging, it's gonna be difficult, it's gonna be, you know, uncomfortable, and that's okay, because we're here with you, because we're gonna walk this journey with you, right? So thank you for that, Janice. And then the other thing that you mentioned was about having these connections, these bridges, these, you know, serendipity. There's no coincidence. Like the universe was calling you and pulling you left and right. Everywhere you turn, you were finding and meeting women that were part of Milagros Day Worldwide and that were inviting you to this community. And so if you are here, if you're listening, if you just watched Healing Voices, if you're listening, if you've been following us, because I know there's a lot of you, and I'm talking to you right here, right into this camera. There's a lot of you who have been following Milagros Day Worldwide for years through social media. And you see, right? You see that all of these women are doing all these great things. And part of you wishes, wow, I wish I could do that. Wow, I wish I could be one of them. And you think that you can't. You think that you don't have what it takes. And that is not true. That is not true. You have what it takes. All of us have it. And none of these women that you watched in that show thought that they had what it takes, including me. And look at what a beautiful production that was. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Janice. Thank you. All right. Okay, let's hear from Vanessa, our MC. This was the lady who gave us, this was the beautiful lady that gave us, that took us by the hand through this journey and kept it all together, right? Between you and Tony Rosa, we gotta give props to Tony with his drums, with his drumming, because he actually like set the tone, set the mood, gave us that vibe. And you, my darling, you held us by the hand through that whole thing. Tell us how that was, and tell us, you know, I mean, you kind of told your story throughout it, but you know, your journey here is not complete. You're gonna be part of the next, you know, Healing Voices, and we have so many great announcements for all of you. So Vanessa, talk to us, my love.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for just being here, for choosing yourself today, and just listening to all of my beautiful sisters and myself talk about our journeys, because we've come a long ways. That MC thing took me by complete surprise. Dawn is great in that way, where she makes you challenge yourself and do things that you never thought you would do, and helping you believe in yourself. Like I had a gumption like, oh, I could be an MC one day. I didn't think that one day was coming that soon. So she's like, you're gonna MC. I have a vision. And I'm like, that's nice. You got a vision. Like we can, okay, like let's see what this is gonna be about. And then she was like, yeah, so I'm gonna tell you what it is. And I listened. And then she was like, yeah, so it's you. And I was like, oh, me? Like, me? Like, you want me to MC? And I was like, I've never done this before. And she's like, okay, now you're gonna do it. And I was like, oh, great. Like, now? And that was like it. And I really wanted to fight myself in so many different ways. I wanted to like fight myself and like, you can't do it. Like call out because of this, or just don't go because of this. And to be honest, I think I showed up 2 hours early just to make sure that that ego, so to speak, that was telling me, oh, you couldn't do it and you're not going to be able to do it. I was like, okay, you can say, ego, you can say whatever you want. I'm already here and I'm not going to not do it while being here. So whatever. So that in itself was like a huge thing. I've never emceed and I'm extremely proud of myself. That thinking you know what you're going to say before you step on stage and you have a script and you've rehearsed, but when you're standing in the moment, when you feel all of your sisters' energy, when you feel the energy in the room, when you know hearts and minds are listening, it's unlike anything I've ever felt, to like have to stand there and feel like I want to make sure I'm doing the best at setting the mood. I want to do my best at introducing my sisters who I feel like need no introduction because they within themselves are powerhouses. And I was afraid, and that like left the moment I stepped on the stage. It like left. And I saw everyone's face and everyone was so beautiful. And my sisters alone in the corner, they were just like, woo! And I was like, woo, go me! So that was like really something. And then not only that, this was the first time that I brought my daughter with me to something like this. And that we've never had the conversation of me having been in a domestic violence relationship. We haven't had a conversation about it because when I was in that place of my life, I really didn't think my daughter knew anything about it. And it was just like a part of my life I wanted to forget, even though it's a big part of my journey. It was a part that I wanted to forget. And what I've learned as far as being a part of Milagros Day Worldwide is yes, the abuse was a part of my story. Having been in an abusive relationship is a part of my story, but there are so many other parts of me that need a whole lot more fine tuning and being introduced to the world. And I don't want having been in an abusive relationship to hinder any of that. Like I have a voice, I have a purpose, and figuring all of that out with my sisters and just understanding the different parts of who I am have been amazing. And I think I'm like adding MC on my list of things to do a little bit more often. So that was amazing. And then just my daughter coming up with her own version of what Milagros Day meant to her. She had a video that I made her do after it, and I really just wanted to know her take, and she blew me away. She was like, just understanding that like your pain isn't like just it, like you can work through that. It was unlike anything I've ever like could have thought that she would say. So that in itself was amazing. So thank you, of course, to Dawn. And then thank you to my sisters too for just being that brave. And just like, I don't know how, I remember like everyone in class was like, I don't know how should I do it this way? Should I do it this way? And I'm gonna practice. And then the day of, everyone was like so spot on. It was like so amazing to watch it all come together. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, it was magical to watch you and to watch everyone flowing. I had Brenna sitting next to me, and every time somebody would come up, I was just squeezing Brenna's leg like, what is happening here right now? This is amazing. Vanessa, you were you were freaking perfect. You were flawless. Like you were just like flowing from one to the next. It was just absolutely beautiful. And then to hear your daughter the next day, the video that we have, it's on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube is Milagros Day Worldwide, one word. Go to our YouTube channel. You can actually watch Healing Voices there, and you can watch many other beautiful content that Milagros Day Worldwide has on our YouTube. So thank you, Vanessa, for saying yes, to my crazy vision, and for saying yes to your dream, to the dream that you had of one day being an MC. And when you have that little bit of dream, that little seed in your heart, if you just allow yourself to be led, the universe will put it in your path. And then it's time for you to say yes. So thank you. And you mentioned the ego, which was really important, because the ego will sabotage you. The ego will tell you, you don't know what you're doing. You don't have the education. You don't have the money. You don't have the time. You're not smart enough. You're not young enough. You're not old enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not skinny enough. Like, the ego will tell you all those things. It tells me, and it tells me every freaking day. You see, here's the thing. One of the things that we actually go through in Healing Voices in our 12-week class is making that decision 35,000 times a day.
Yes.
A day to continue with your commitment, because your mind is going to constantly tell you, no, you can't do it. No, you're too tired. It's cold outside. It's snowing. It's too hot. Like, it's going to give you a million excuses.
Everything.
Follow your dream. Follow your vision. Yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right. So we are in the transition period now from the stage of the cast Q&A into the next stage, which was craft your own story with Healing Voices. And we're still going to keep talking to the ladies. Just have the idea in mind of the ladies that are listening, right? All the ladies in the Milagros Day community, all the ladies on the Turning Abuse into Success page, all the ladies that you know in your life, so that wish that they could be part of something like this. We're talking to them. We're talking to you right now. And we're going to let you know how you can be part of this. It's very simple. Whatever platform you're on right now, if you're in this chat, write in the chat, hey, I want to be part of the next Healing Voices. If you're on Facebook, write in that chat, hey, I want to be part of the next Healing Voices. And we're going to reach out to you. We're going to have you talk to us, go through an interview process, and tell you everything that it's going to take, and walk with through every step of the way. So there was a question in the chat from Jonah and Sherry. Thank you so much, because you spoke to that. I want to read it again. Sherry, thank you so much for answering a lot of the questions here. I'm going back in the chat. Okay, yes. And I love how you all are talking to each other in the chat and you're supporting each other. Yes, okay. So Jonah had said, I'm looking. Okay, it comes down to making choices. Yes. Okay, how do you learn to self-care love if you were trained to do the opposite, to make sure you help others, especially who's around you first before yourself? Sacrifice is love. I'm still learning boundaries and self-love, constant relapse of toxic relationships, and I'm a slow learner, ADHD. Okay, first of all, whoever told you that you're a slow learner, that is a label that you don't have to live with and can I get Melissa here, okay? Because you all heard Melissa and you heard how freaking powerful and how beautiful and how eloquent and how like, wow, how she talked about the scars, right? The truth behind the scars. And I'm gonna unmute you, Melissa. And I want you to talk about your experience. Where is she? Where'd she go? Oh, here she goes. Okay. Spotlight. Okay, cool. Here we go. Spotlight, Melissa. Hey, baby. All right. So
Hi.
Jonah, if I'm not saying it right, it's Jonna, right? Jonah is talking about how do you put yourself first? How do you give yourself self-care and self-love? And she feels that she's a slow learner because she was told that she had ADHD. Talk to us about all of those things, my love.
Well, apparently, like society always have label on us, or like I was labeled a victim, and I literally lived that victim mentality. Like I believed that I was the victim instead of thinking that, instead of transitioning the victim mentality, I was living in it. And I stood stuck and I was depressed and I suppressed, you know, my emotions. And what helped me during this class was that I was able to identify the emotions that I felt when I was labeled a victim. And I have been labeled with learning disabilities. So I can relate to her in that sense of being labeled. And what has helped me was the class, being able to identify my emotions, being able to define my emotions, and to actually express how I felt about how the society put these labels on me. Another thing is, you know, healing and taking care of yourself is a daily routine. It starts with like making the bed, or you know, just training, or just like creating healthier habits. For me, I'm focusing on my health, because when you do trauma, we do carry it on our bodies, and it creates different illnesses, not just mental, but physical as well. So right now, what I do is I reach out to a lot of like healers, support groups, you know, stuff like that, that I feel like would benefit me and teach me something different of self-care, self-love. Also watch a lot of like YouTube videos of self-care. I try to listen to like positive music, take a moment to, you know, I even color sometimes, be creative. That's part of self-care as well. And yeah, so that's my input on taking care of yourself. It's never ending. It's constant.
Yes. Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, and I just wanted Jonah to see that just because somebody told you that you were a slow learner doesn't mean that you can't focus on what's important and what's going to give you the tools if you just work at it, right? And if you just have that commitment. And I know, Sherry, you were actually also talking to Jonah. So I want to bring Sherry in here. You know, in your talk, Sherry, you were very powerful in letting in, like, you really were really raw about it, about saying like, okay, you say you want all this stuff, right? You say you want to be happy, you say you want to be free, you say you want to heal, but healing is not easy. Healing is gonna take work, right? The same work that you put into getting a car and getting a house, why don't you put all that work into healing your life and your spirit and your soul and your mind and getting out of toxic relationships and you know, and all of that stuff. So talk to us about that, Sherry.
I'm quite sure all of you ladies know that I'm very transparent. I believe in being transparent and authentic and letting people know, you know, it really isn't easy. We really have to work hard on it, and we have to put all of our blood, sweat, and tears in it. And I had to learn after literally almost dying, someone almost literally killed me, and that was my aha moment. And I realized that after going through depression, after becoming addicted to medication, prescription medication, and after literally like just not caring about myself, it was just like, wait a minute, why am I letting people that most of them don't even have their stuff together and they're telling me that I'm worse off? Why am I letting these people dictate and rule and control me? Why am I letting people have the satisfaction and seeing me down? So that's when I realized, you know, it's not about what people think about me, because people want to think whatever they want to think about you, no matter what it is that you're doing. You just have to set a goal and strive for that. And a lot of people want instant gratification. They want, you know, they might come to the Healing Voices classes and they're like, well, it's not working because I didn't get an aha moment. You're not going to get it right away. Everybody doesn't get it at the same time. You might get it after their class is done. As we need to be patient, understand that it's a process. And with any process, you have to go through all the steps. You can't skip steps and you can't rush it. And this is why a lot of people, they fail in the healing process because they're rushing. They don't feel nothing. So it's like, oh, it doesn't work. And they're skipping steps. I feel that in the healing process is going to be a bunch of stuff. You're going to have a bunch of highs. You're going to have a bunch of lows. I know I had a bunch of lows in the class. I felt that being in the class made me vulnerable. And I don't like that feeling of being vulnerable. I don't like it. And Dawn helped me to realize it's okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is not weak. It's a strength. And when we had these conversations, I'm like, I thought it was weakness to be vulnerable. I really felt like it was a weakness, but it's not. It's a strength that you have. And I had to learn in the class boundaries. What are boundaries? And I learned words that I didn't know. And it's like, oh, there's a name for that. So being in this class and being a part of this group really helped me. So if you don't have a support group or a support system like this, you need to get one, because you will learn what's actually going on. You will be around people that actually have gone through that, and you can identify and know that you're not crazy, that those people that are around you, they're toxic. And yes, it's okay to remove yourself from them. And I had to learn, you know, it is okay to not be okay. I used to walk around saying, I'm okay. I'm not okay. I wasn't okay. Had the real poker face. I'm okay. I was not okay. And the ladies in the class, they see me broke down and cry. A couple of times I broke down and cried, and it was just like, Mom, I don't even know. I didn't know these ladies. So most of them knew each other. I didn't know them. So I was like, why am I crying to these women that I don't know? But it was okay, because I felt like they were like my sisters, and they weren't there to judge me, and they were there. And those are the type of people that I need, that any of us need around us. Non-judgmental people, authentic, empathetic people that they see you crying, they're gonna come, give you a hug and say, it's okay, and help you. So that's basically what my speech is about. Get rid of those toxic people that just want to bring you down, and find some positive people, uplift you.
Yes. Thank you, Sherry. And you know, you talked about that too, about being transparent and being vulnerable. And in your talk, you said, do I look Do I look like I was 108 pounds? Do I look, right? Thank God we don't look like what we've been through. And that is so so powerful, because you don't know everybody that you see around you trying to make it look like they got it all together. And everybody's going through something. Everyone's going through something. So let down that armor, let down that, that facade, and allow yourself to be vulnerable so that you can heal. I remember a very important saying that says, you can either save your face or your ass. Which one would you like to save? Right? And you know what? I say I choose my ass. So yes, okay. All right, so let's move on. Margarita, you wanted to say something. Okay, hello.
Hi, I just wanted to add just a little bit, just so that they know that the interaction that you have with the young ladies in the class, that's not where it stayed. It even went besides that. It was something that was mandatory, that you had to, check on each other, check on your partner, so it doesn't stay there, because, we were able to check on each other, at night or the following day or during the week. And that's where you also were able to bond and create a sisterhood. So it was amazing. So it's not like it was only once a week and you dealt with the issues or whatever. When you went home or on another day, you were able to communicate with your buddy or communicate with anybody within the group, even if it wasn't your buddy. And that's where you also build your sisterhood and build your relationships with. And it made it comfortable when you went back the following week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's, thank you, Margarita. So you're getting into the structure of what this program and what this course is going to look like, right? And of course, it's going to look totally different now than what it did when we created it, because we were actually live. We were actually meeting each other live. But what we're going to do now is that we're going to have these virtual groups. So I'm going to get into the structure a little bit. So it's an online platform called Teachable. And in the Teachable platform, you will have your modules, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, all the way to week 12. Plus you have your introduction and your closing, right? So basically there'll be 14 modules. And in those modules, you'll go through all of the different steps that we went through in this course, in this evolution, starting, of course, with trauma. Like, what is trauma? What is trauma and how has it affected you, right? And so we're going to go through each one of those steps, but I want to bring in some of the other ladies that haven't spoken. So, Kitty, talk to us about how was it? All right, I'm trying to unmute you, so I need to unmute yourself.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yes, yes,
I
you
was
are.
gone for a while too, and the screen changed. I saw just my name.
Uh-huh.
And I had to figure out how to put myself back on. So I got to be mindful. I had a whole 2-minute conversation with my ego over that too.
Well, it's okay, because now we're all learning on all new skills that we never thought we needed to learn. So talk to us about, like, what was the journey of transformation within Healing Voices? And after watching you do your presentation, talking about how shy, because you weren't allowed to say nervous, right? So you were like, yeah, I'm just very, very shy. And just talking about, like, and seeing you up there and hearing about that you were priority number 5 or priority 6, right? And so now you're priority number 1. Like, you have made such a leaps and bounds change. Talk to us about that, my love.
Well, I've said before, it was like a really hard time for me during the class. It was a great time. It was really the worst time in my life in a long time. So I had a lot of support from everyone, even though they didn't directly know what was going on. The whole process was a big deal. By the end of it, through watching my sisters and learning different things, I was able to have my own voice and actually explain what happened, explain my story. And I think I've only begun to explain it. I think it's the beginning of my voice. I think that this team and this Healing Voice has helped me find my voice. I'm grateful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So Kitty, so how were you able to work in teams and support each other? I know everybody had buddies, and some days that some people were on top of the world and others were totally not into it. I know you and Dina drove in together. So what was the whole teamwork of it?
By the time we all actually grounded, and sometimes it took us longer on some days than others, and some of us were later and some of us were not, whatever, though that day, by the end of the grounding, we all pretty much had it. And we walked each other through it or talked to each other through it, through each skit, through each feeling, through each exercise we did. Yeah. But yeah, it took us time to ground. We'd get there and then we'd have to all land.
Yeah. So thank you, Kitty. And it's funny you said that because oh, wait a minute, I'm losing my screen here. Where am I? I'm working with two screens here, sorry. Okay. So my tech support is not here right now. Okay, 1 second. Where am I? Okay, cool. Here I am. Okay, so thank you. Awesome. Yeah, it's all about giving yourself a break, not putting so much pressure on yourself, being present and being open, being vulnerable, and just listening to what your heart is telling you. And you did that so beautifully, Kitty. You were able to hold space for other sisters who were not ready at some points, and Janice, yeah. So Janice, you had mentioned yesterday how you were watching the videos of us throughout the weeks, and that's one of the things that was such a great evolution to watch everybody from week 1 to week 5 to week 10 to watch all of the videos. And we have those videos. And so that is going to be part of the curriculum of the program, of the platform. We're going to upload those videos and see okay, this was this person in week 1 and look at them in week 12. This was this person in week 3 and look at them in week 8, So how we're able to evolve and to give yourself that opportunity to grow within this community. So awesome. All right. Let's see who has not spoken. We have Brenna. We have, who else have not spoken from our group? And Gloria, where's Gloria? Oh, there she goes. Okay, cool. Okay. So let's get Brenna up there. Okay. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my God, it was amazing to watch the video. And I was texting back and forth with Sonia. like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I think I was more nervous, not nervous, but more excited today because I knew so many people would be watching it. And it just had a different feel to it. It was nice. I got to watch it with my husband who's here watching it with me, which he enjoyed it, right? And just reminds me of, why we're doing this and, what we bring to these women. And like you said, Dawn, what it brings to us. Because you and I always have this conversation about, how we feel when we hear these stories and how it makes us happy, knowing the connections that a lot of these women, have made through our sisterhood and our community. And, it's great. And it just, gives me more motivation to let's go, let's do this. Let's, move on. There's no stopping us. There's no taking time. Let's just do it. And for all you women that are out there, men, anyone, this is for you. I mean, there's so much here. There's so much that you can give to us as well. And that's what we're looking forward to. I enjoyed watching the video again. I thank you everyone for being here and taking time out of your day, to spend it with us and get to know us and know our purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. This is Brenna Cotignola, my sister, who is the vice president of Milagros Day Worldwide, and she's here to serve. And so anybody has any questions, make sure that you ask her and reach out. Okay, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. All right, cool. So let us go with, okay, is there any other ladies that from the performers? Let's see, we have Sonia, Janice, they all spoke, Margarita, Kitty, Melissa, Star, Vanessa, Dina spoke. Okay. All right, it looks like everyone has spoken. Let's go with Gloria. And Gloria. This woman has, hold on, I'm gonna unmute you. Okay, yes, all right, awesome. All right, cool. So, Gloria was the glue that held us all together. She coached everyone through their talks and crafting their talks. And so when you join Healing Voices, you will have that experience of Gloria helping you to craft your talks in a different way, but I'm definitely not assigning Gloria to one specific team and one specific group. I want you to be the general coach overseeing everybody's talks the way that you did last time. And so that everyone's going to get that, to dig deep and pull that story from your gut. And so talk to us about that. How was that process for you, my love? And, and why should everybody who's listening right here, who's listening, who wants to be part of this, why should they do this?
So I actually wanted to join the group, and unfortunately I had no childcare. And at some point, fortunately, my brother came to stay with me. So then poof, childcare came available, but it wasn't in the time that the class had already been flowing. So I kind of walked into a number of things that we had already going on. But prior to that was this one particular topic. And as sisters, we call each other to support each other. And one of the things that we're talked about is this shame. And shame is like, it's like throwing the to make that onion cry, the ugly, rearing its ugly little head at you, right? And you wanting to say everything you can, and then you don't want to share anything at the same time. It's really digging deep. And I just was like, thrown back in so many different ways, being a part of the team, being a part of what was going on, and not understanding, how I was going to be a part of this, so to speak, and then just figuring it out as we're going through the process. there were so many different things that people said that was so touching, so moving. Your words, your fears, the quivers in your lip, the trembling, the resistance. The resistance itself was making me more wanting to push you to be able to get to the other side. Because if you were, walking the line and you were getting to the middle, there was some kind of hesitation there, but not enough to not to be pushed over to the other side, right? So it's like taking that big, deep, hard, long, crusty shit that's been stuck in your intestines for the longest time, and it needs to be pushed out. That baby needs to come out, right? So I'm getting this way and I'm expressing it this way because I want you to understand that this is something that we've been carrying around for I don't even know how many years. And some of us realize some of the shit that we've been carrying and others do not. And so the meaning and the purpose is to go through the process to get to the point of when you're going to actually dump this shit, so to speak. And in hearing each and every one of you and sharing, because I've had phone call after phone call. I met somebody for dinner. I went here, I went there. I tried every attempt to make sure that if I couldn't, talk to you, that at least let me read your story and let me see if I can, what I was getting from it, and that you could express it even more, because you have so much, each and every one of you have so much to offer and so much to give. And you want to be able to give it with every bit of your soul, because it's going to reach someone else that has experienced the same that you have already experienced. And then some, to be able to get to the point of saying, while you're telling others, while you're repeating what you're saying over and over again, as ugly as hearing it yourself, right? Is you're also rescuing others and saving others from sitting there, living there in this silence, hurting so badly, and giving them the courage not to give up, not to live in the guilt, not to stay in this ugly place, but to face the mirror, to look at the shame for what it is, being human, accepting support, embracing yourself, embracing your life. And that's exactly what I want to continue doing with each and every one of you.
Wow, Gloria, thank you. And it was so awesome watching you and Luz on the stage, and you and Luz, right? Like having that conversation, and that was such a phenomenal concept of the mirror, right? Yeah. Like, this woman is your mirror, and you're talking to her like you're talking to yourself, and it doesn't matter what language you're speaking, because the language of trauma is universal. And so that language, and you're just saying all of these words, and then finally she comes to you and she surrenders and she falls into your arms, and she lets you support her, she lets you nurture her. And that is how we finished, how we concluded that show, that production, so appropriately showing how we're there to support each other, and just allow yourself to surrender and be held and be nurtured and be loved. So
this segment with Luz was, she had her story to tell and I was to share another. And Luz said, we need to do this together. So we came up with something, and I don't know if my sisters knew this, but both her and I do suffer from PTSD, and we have panic attacks. And Luz was doing that during a panic attack. Her strength came out and she did it. She, the mic was going down and Vanessa picked it right back up, as a sister should, supporting your sister right there to back it up. And at the same time, she hung in there and viewing each other as what we're going through, and not facing our fears as you would have to when you look in the mirror. Oh my God. Sherry, what did you say? Thank God I don't look like what I've been through, right? And some of us are looking and looking at the pain rather than looking within ourselves for the solution. right? Because someone said it earlier, you don't have to go to Google, you don't have to go to someone else, you have to look within yourself. And in within yourself, looking in the mirror, embracing your soul, your spirit, your being.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so we have a few minutes left of this transmission. This has been amazing. This has been, you know, the whole thing. I mean, all of Healing Voices and all of this screening and everything that we've done, we didn't know we could do this. None of this we knew we could do. It was just an idea. It was just a vision. Milagros Day Worldwide. It wasn't even something that I knew what to do or how to carry it out or how to make it happen. It's just putting one foot in front of the other and just being pulled by purpose, being pulled by vision, being pulled and knowing that if I don't, it's either I do this or I sink into a depression and lose myself. And so that's how we've been creating every step of the way. And it's been magical, absolutely magical. And so, so I want to thank you. I want to thank each and every one of you for being part of Healing Voices. I want to thank each and every one of you for attending, you know, supporting our movement and our events and this particular transmission. Jonah, we need to talk to you after this because you have opened your heart in this chat. And I don't know if who invited you or how, you know, if we have your email, if somebody has your phone number or what. But before we hang up here, we need to contact you. Jonah, can you please put in your email or your phone number? And no one else is gonna see this, but please put your contact so we can reach you. I'm not gonna shut this down until we get your contact, okay? Because we've created a connection here with you, and this is your sisterhood now, my love. Okay, so yes, we got her contact. All right. Yes. Okay. Whoever's in the chat, Brenna, whoever's in the chat, can you take that information down so that we don't lose it before? Okay. Yeah, so that we don't lose it before we close here. Sophie, you had mentioned another question earlier, and I left it for the end because I wanted to, address it universally. You talked about a story of a friend who had lived in a domestic violence relationship for 25 years and that she never got out of it and that she never even realized it until she was on her deathbed. And that is a sad truth. That's a sad truth that happens with many people, many women who go their whole entire lives not knowing that they're in an abusive relationship or not wanting to admit it to themselves, being in denial or being ashamed of the fact that, well, if this is happening to me, then that means I deserve it, or I had something to do with it. And so I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter if it's been 1 year, 5 months, 3 years, 25 years. If you feel that a situation that you're in is not who you are and is not where you belong, move out of that. Contact us so we can help you walk through that. Okay. And how can you help someone, Sophie? The question was that how, oh, wow. That's, yeah. So she died very young. You know, my mom died very young. My mom died at 33 years old. And she was in a very brutally abusive relationship for over 10 years. And when she finally left the relationship, 6 months later, she was killed in a car accident. So we don't know how much time we have. So we need to act now. And so the question that Sophie had was that how can you identify when someone's in an abusive relationship, and how can you support them? Well, it's the same way with terrorism, right? If you see something, say something. If you see something, say something. Say something to her. Say, hey, listen, I know that you're going through something, and you feel it, like, you know, you feel it inside, you know that you're not supposed to be there, and so let's take the steps one step at a time. Some people have to realize that they're in a situation. Okay, my love, don't listen. Everyone's journey. Sophie's saying she didn't trust her gut, right? She didn't trust her gut to tell her friend, and then she died at age 25. Listen, all spirits have their journey to go through. My mom had her journey to go through, and that was the journey that her spirit chose to go through. So don't feel that guilt, you know, get past that guilt. And here you are in Milagros Day Worldwide, making up and supporting so many women that you've been helping for all these years that you've been with us. So that is in honor of your friend. Okay, so don't let that stop you. Just move forward and always do it in honor of your friends, right? And so, you know, when someone's in a situation like that, you have to say something. You have to say something. Say it with love. They have to know that they're not being judged. That is the number one thing. They have to know that they're not being judged. And if they choose to stay there, that's okay, because it takes 7 years on an average. That's statistics. It takes 7 years for a woman to leave an abusive relationship. And it actually, not 7 years, 7 attempts, right? And those 7 attempts could take 7 years, or they could take 15 years, you know? So just easy. Make sure she knows that you know, and that you're there for her, and that you don't judge her. That's number one, okay? And just give her information like this. Give her the recordings of Healing Voices, so that she could see a different path, okay? So, wow. I wanted to go through the curriculum of Healing Voices very quickly. Week 1 is theory, talking about trauma, talking about the effects of trauma on the brain and on your personality, okay? Week 2 is the obstacles of public speaking. So remember that this is a course where we combine trauma healing and public speaking, and that the healing comes through the speaking. It comes through telling your story, right? So week 2 is week 1 is learning about trauma. Week 2 is learning about public speaking, okay? Now, week 3 is about uncertainty. So kind of exploring the freedom of vulnerability and the judgment from yourself and others. That's in the first couple of weeks, we talk about judgment, because judgment is what keeps us hiding, right? Okay, week 4, shame. The shame is in the secret. How the human mind takes ownership and identifies with painful experiences, okay? So it's talking about the shame and how to get past that. Week 5, anger, right? Anger is a necessary part of the healing process. And that's where you get to shed all of that anger and all of that resentment that you have inside you for all of these years. Now, week 6, forgiveness, right? Once you have gone through the shame and gone through the anger, now forgiveness is your freedom. Forgiveness is the hardest hurdle to overcome and the most life-changing. Okay? That is where you have your shift. That is where you stop, because when you're holding somebody in a jail cell, you're the warden, and so you're in freaking jail too. You're in jail right along with them. So that's it. Just get out of there. Start living your life, okay? Week 7, gratitude. After cleansing and lifting the weight of the world with your forgiveness, now what is left is gratitude. And now that is when you can start to acknowledge all of the beautiful things and all of the beautiful possibilities that are right in front of your eyes, that you're not looking at them because you're so blinded by anger and shame and fear and hatred and guilt and blame. So move forward from that with gratitude, okay? Then the next week is creativity. Once you give yourself that opportunity to have the gratitude, now all of a sudden it's like you can see and you're able to create. You're able to express your creativity. Okay. Week 9, leadership, right? So now it's okay, helping somebody else, helping another sister, helping someone else in the group, showing them, being that mirror, like Gloria was to Luz, being that mirror, okay? And then the next week is joy, right? Celebration. And then being comfortable in your own skin so that you can speak from the heart, okay? The next week, week 11, that's when you practice all of your skills, everything that you learned throughout this curriculum. That's practice week. And then presentation. The last week is presentation. And so presentation is what you saw. It's the film that you just watched, right? It's the final product. It's the culmination. It's the celebration, right? It's where we bring everything all together and we prove, not to anybody else, but to ourselves, that we have what it takes to express and to speak and to share and to stand in our power, stand our ground and stand in our power. That's presentation, right? That's what you saw. That's what you witnessed. That was the phenomenal, just, manifestation of beauty and of creativity and of joy and all of that you saw. That's presentation, and that's what you will be doing that last week, right? And so, of course, we're doing this all virtually. So between now and the next 3 weeks, we're going to be recruiting. So we're going to be inviting people to come and be part of this Healing Voices. We're going to be having your interviews to make sure that you know what you're getting into and that you know what what resources are here for you, and to make sure that this is something you're ready for, right? You'll be paying your tuition, $10 a week, $10 a week for 12 weeks. How, that is like an amazing gift to be able to have all of these results for that small price to pay. And that's really to give us the opportunity and to have this organization continue in the mission that we have, right? Okay, and then we have teamwork. You have your mentors. So you'll be doing this online. The course will guide you step by step. You'll do it on your own, online, at your time. So it's not like you have to be somewhere at a certain time every week or whatever. You do it on your own. And there's deadlines that you have to make sure you do your assignments by that day. And then you have your mentors. One of these ladies who spoke here today, one of these ladies who were on that stage at Healing Voices is going to be your mentor. And she's going to hold your hand and walk through this journey with you and support you and encourage you and celebrate you, be your cheerleader, and also hold you accountable, right? Hold you accountable, okay? To what you say that you want for yourself, right? And what work are you willing to put into it? So she'll be there to hold you accountable. And then the presentation, right? The celebration. My idea, my vision is that by the end of those 12 weeks, we will be able to be at that studio and record your talks the same way that these ladies recorded their talks, okay? And so that is my vision. That is my invitation to you that are listening. You're worth it. This is all possible for you. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I can't wait. Jonah, you're in there, girl. You're in there. And I'm so excited to see who's next. Who's next? Let me see who's still in here. Who's next? Who's next in this journey? Carol, are you next? Sophie, are you next? All right. Who else? Sade, are you next? Mimi, are you next? Right? And all of you that are watching, are you next? Take that spot. It's yours. It belongs to you. It's been long enough. So thank you. I love you. I love you. I love every one of you for being here, for listening, for sharing, for being a part of this community. I appreciate you tremendously. I'm unmuting everybody. Everybody's unmuted, unmuted. Everybody say thank you, say good night.
Thank you. Love you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes, yes,
Thank you guys.
yes, yes.
Love you, Dawn. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you,
wow.
Dawn.
Thank you for letting me share my story.
Yes.
Love you, Don.
Yes. And wow. Yes. Okay. So Sade, can you, I don't know if you could lead us in like a very, very, very short grounding. If you can show your photo, show yourself. And if not, you can just do the audio. We're already past the 5 p.m. So that was our commitment. We stuck to the schedule. That's something that's very important. Okay, so yes, all right. So I don't see her coming on. All right, so I'm just going to say, oh, she's muted.
Mute.
Okay, hold on. I'll unmute. Okay. Unmute.
Hey
There
guys,
you
I'm
go.
sorry I couldn't
Yes.
couldn't come on camera today. I have a lot just going on. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for you, Dawn. I'm grateful for the opportunity that you gave me to just capture that event that actually changed my life. So I'm really looking forward to just starting my journey in healing voices. And I'm just gonna basically use the same grounding I used on the same day. I think it's just relevant. So it's a trigger mantra, and we're just gonna focus on calming our.
Protect your energy. I am protected. I am protected. I am protected. I am protected. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Eventually. Calm down.
So I hope that was enough. I know you have to go, but I'm
Yes,
just
thank
grateful. I'm so Dawn, like I can't put it into words yet. Maybe I'll find my words in healing voices. But I need to join so that I can actually start healing my words, because I've noticed that a lot of our trauma is stuck in our words, and we keep re-manifesting our past through our words, and I really need to like heal my voice. So I look forward to joining you guys.